That £35 lip oil that went viral on TikTok is basically castor oil and perfume. That £40 foundation that swears it's skincare, mostly water and silicone. Today, I'm breaking down what's really inside your makeup bag and why the fantasy costs a lot more than the formula. I've got a chemistry degree. I can read an ingredient label in my sleep. I'm also a finance director, so I know exactly what profit margins look like. And yet, I still dropped £100 on a makeup haul that's now gathering dust under my sink. So if I can get played by the blue peel-off lip stains, anyone can. Let's actually look at what's in these products and why most of them are not worth the hype. By the end of this, you'll know which products are worth splurging on, which ones are daylight robbery, and how to never get tricked by skincare in a bottle again. Oh, and by the way, I've put together a free smart beauty spending guide. It's a one-page cheat sheet that shows you how to read a label, when to splurge, and when to save. I'll leave it in the link below if you want to grab it. In my last video, we talked about why we overspend on makeup, how the industry sells us confidence in a bottle, and how we end up with drawers full of regretful purchases. A lot of you commented asking me to do a proper deep dive into the formulas themselves, to show what's actually in these products and whether the price tags make sense. So that's exactly what we're doing today, because it's not just psychology, it's chemistry too. Let's start with foundations. Luxury ones are always sold as more than makeup. They're marketed as skincare in a bottle. You'll see claims like hydrating, anti-aging, infused with hyaluronic acid or vitamin C, which sounds amazing until you actually look at the label. Most foundations, whether they're £50 designer or £10 drugstore, share the same skeleton. The first ingredients are almost always water. Silicones like dimethicone or cyclopentasiloxane to give that silky glow. Some emollients and then iron oxide pigments for colour. That's the cake. Everything else is just sprinkles. Those hero ingredients you see on the box, like hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, peptides, they're usually way down the ingredient list. Often under 1%, just enough to legally put them on the packaging, but not enough to actually give you a real skincare benefit. If you want those actives to actually work, you're better off getting them in a serum and not just hoping your foundation is doing a double duty. And here's where it stings. The cost of making a bottle of foundation is usually under £2, and a glass bottle and a nice cap, maybe £3. The rest of that £40 to £50 price tag is packaging, marketing and retailer markup, not magical ingredients. Industry insiders say 90% of what you're paying is added after the product leaves the factory, and none of that changes the formula. A lot of these so-called luxury foundations and their drugstore dupes don't just look similar on paper. Many of them are literally made in the same factories. Companies like L'Oreal own both high-end designer brands and drugstore ones. So the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, £45, and the L'Oreal True Match, under £12, aren't just cousins, they're siblings. Same parent company, sometimes even the same production line. The biggest difference is the frosted glass with designer logo versus the plastic packaging. Performance-wise, they give you the same luminous, buildable finish. So unless you've found your absolute holy grail shade or finish in a high-end foundation, you don't need to overspend here. Drugstore foundations can give you the same coverage, finish, and sometimes even less irritation because they skip the extra fragrance luxury formulas throw in just to feel fancy. Next up, we've got lip products. Lipsticks, glosses, oils. Some of the most overhyped items in beauty. Luxury brands will tell you their £30 lipstick is made with rare oils, or that a £45 lip oil is a must-have treatment. But once again, the label tells a different story. The backbone of every lipstick and lip oil is the same. Castor oil, waxes like beeswax or candelia, and pigments. Take lip oils. The Dior Lip Glow Oil, that went viral at £35. Its very first ingredient is castor oil. The £7 Elf Glow Lip Reviver Oil is the same thing. They both add a little flavour, a little gloss agent, and maybe a hint of shimmer. But at the core, it's the same recipe. And lipsticks, whether you're holding a Tom Ford Bullet or a £6 Revlon, they're usually castor oil, wax, red iron oxide pigment. What you're really paying for is the case, the scent, and the brand name engraved on the bullet, not some revolutionary formula. Insiders say the cost to make a lipstick is only about £2. The rest of that £30 price tag is packaging and profit. Lip glosses and oils are even cheaper. A brand's margin is huge here because oils and waxes are inexpensive raw materials. And the white label factor shows up here too. L'Oreal owes YSL, Lancome, and Maybelline. So it's no coincidence that people have noticed L'Oreal's colour-rich extraordinaire gloss felt exactly like the £30 YSL glossy stain. Same parent company, nearly identical formula, just one comes out in a gold tube with a logo and the other in drugstore plastic. So unless a luxury lip product is giving you a shade or packaging you can't live without, you don't need to overspend here either. Lip products are one of the easiest categories to save on because at the end of the day, it's all castor oil, wax and pigment. The £7 version will make your lips shine just as much as the £45 one. Mascara is sold like some sort of moonshot technology, lengthening, thickening, curling, but the formula hasn't really changed in decades. Whether it's £8 or £28, it's basically wax, pigment and a film-forming polymer. That's it. Add a preservative, maybe some water or oil, and you've got mascara. And it's the same story with the eyeshadow palettes. The expensive ones promise buttery pigments and pro quality, but the backbone is always the same. Mica or talc for texture, and a silicone binder, like dimethicone. A £50 luxury palette might sprinkle in a drop of vitamin E, but the £10 drugstore version uses the exact same recipe. The cost to make a mascara is usually under £1, and the eyeshadow palette is just a few pounds. The rest of that 25 to 50 quid price tag is packaging, marketing, and a big markup. That's why Lancome's £28 mascara and L'Oreal's £9 mascara perform almost identically. They have the same parent company. And with palettes, it's even easier to dupe a trendy colour story. That £45 luxury neutral palette, probably 90% identical to the £12 drugstore one. So here's the deal. Eye makeup is one of the safest categories to save on. The £8 mascara and the £28 mascara are both built on wax and pigment. With shadows, trends just move too fast to justify 50 quid for 12 pounds of beige. If you want to splurge, make it for a unique colour story, not for black pigment in a fancy tube. Powder products like bronzer, blush and highlighter are even simpler. Like eyeshadow, they're built on the same base. Mica or talc for texture, pigments for colour and a binder like dimethicone to make it glide. That £40 Radiance highlighter, talc with a metallic pigment. The £4 drugstore dupe is the same thing minus the embossed logo. And you've guessed it, the cost to make a compact is just a few pounds, sometimes less. The rest of the £30 to £40 retail price is packaging and marketing. That's why side-by-sides like Becca's Champagne Pop at £30 and Revolution's £4 reloaded highlighter look nearly identical on the skin. Most people couldn't tell you the difference if you switch them blind, which means powders are one of the easiest categories to save on. Cheap brands have nailed pigment quality, so unless you're collecting packaging or chasing a shade that's truly unique, you're better off saving your money here. So let's zoom out across foundations, lip products, mascaras and powders. The pattern is the same. The formulas are usually simple, inexpensive to make, and often nearly identical between luxury and drugstore. The difference is in the packaging, the marketing, and the markup. And here's something we don't talk about enough: expiry dates. Most makeup goes off within 6 to 12 months of opening. That viral palette or that £30 lipstick that you use just once, chances are is already expired. Which means we're not just paying with our wallets, we're literally paying to throw money and product into landfill. Beauty waste is huge. Nearly all of those plastic compacts and tubes end up in the bin. So what's the takeaway? Treats are fine, but if you want value, spend on your base. Things you'll actually use every day, like a foundation that matches and a solid SPF. Save money on the fun, colourful extras, because that £5 version will glow, flush and sparkle just as well as the £40 one. Now, in this video, I've kept it strictly to makeup, but the same tricks show up in skincare too. Serums brag about vitamin C or peptides, but only include them in fairy dust amounts. If you want me to do a full deep dive into skincare formulas, what's worth it and what's not, let me know in the comments. I'd love to break that down for you next. If I can fall for a £45 lip oil that's basically castor oil in heels, anyone can. But once you know how to read the label and where the money really goes, it's a lot harder to get played. And if you want a shortcut, I made a free Smart Beauty spending guide. I'll leave it in the link below, so grab it because it'll save you money on your next makeup haul. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments if you want me to do the same deep dive for skincare formulas, because the fairy dusting isn't just in your foundations, it's in your serums too.